What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Let's Code Codewars here on Neural 9, the format where I basically do coding exercises on the fly without preparing for it, without scripting, without cutting out mistakes, showing you the full, raw, unfiltered thought process. So let us get right into it. Alright, so the rules are the same as always. I'm not allowed to use ChatGPT, I'm not allowed to communicate with other people, and of course I'm not allowed to Google the exact solution to the problem. I am, however, allowed to use Google in general. I'm allowed to use Stack Overflow, and I'm allowed to look up documentation and stuff like that. So when it comes to Googling, if the task is, for example, finding the first 20 primes of a sequence, I would not be allowed to Google the exact solution to that task. However, I could Google how to work with lists in Python. I could Google how to do a certain operation in Python. I would be allowed to Google what a prime number is if I don't know. So stuff like that is allowed so that you can see the full unfiltered process of problem solving here. And today my goal is to also do a 4Q challenge. We haven't done it yet. I always did a 6 and then a 5Q. We're going to start today with a 5Q challenge for warm-up. Hopefully not too difficult, because last time I think, if I remember correctly, I failed a 5Q. But we're going to start with a 5Q, and then hopefully we're going to go into a 4Q challenge. And for that, we're going to go to practice here now. And we're going to filter here, difficulty 5Q. Do I have to apply it? No. Okay. So this one we have already done. I think this is what this check mark stands for. Let's see what we have here. And I'm trying to avoid here in this format two mathematical things, not because I don't like them. Those are actually my favorite challenges. The reason I avoid them for the videos usually is because I oftentimes end up, especially because I'm recording and it's a different, my mind functions in a different way when I'm recording, and then the mathematical tasks end up being quite confusing to me and to the audience. So I try to do less mathematical things here when recording these Codewars episodes. So let's see what we have here. Caesar, Cipher, string generation by pattern. I'm going to just open up a couple of them and we're going to choose one. Not very secure maybe. Regular expressions, this is scary. Train of dominoes, vowel alternations. Okay, now actually I wanted to open this in a new tab. Lazy repeater. Simple CSS selector comparison. Okay, that should be enough. Let's look through them. I'm not going to read through all of them. I'm just going to scroll through them briefly, and if we find something that looks interesting, we're going to read all of it. The action of a Caesar cipher is to replace. Yeah, we know that. So basically shifting the alphabet. Program performs a variation of the Caesar shift, increases by 1 for each character. Okay. So if the shift is initially 1, the first character is shifted by 1, the second shifted by 2, the third one by 3, and so on. Okay. Parameters and return of function moving shift. Okay, we get a string. We get an initial shift, and then this shift increases, and then codes the entire string, and then returns an array of strings containing the coded string in 5 parts. 5 parts because to avoid, what does that mean? First codes the entire string, then returns an array of strings containing the coded string in 5 parts. To avoid more risks, the coded message will be... Okay, maybe we can look at some examples here. Do we have some examples? For example, if the coded message has a length of 17... I understand the first part. I'm not sure about the second part. So what does it say here? If possible, the message will be equally divided. Okay, so we have 5 runners. We always have 5, right? Yeah, okay. So, okay, got it. So basically we're going to divide by 5. If the number is not divisible by 5, we're going to divide by 4, and the remainder is going to be in the 5th one. So length 17 is not divisible by 5, so we're going to divide it by... So basically we're going to take 16 divided by 4, which is 4. So we have 4 times 4, then 1 for the remainder, so that the first 4 parts are evenly split. Okay, I think I got it. The length is 16. Okay, got it. You will also implement a demoving shift, possibly resulting. Okay, we get an array from array of strings, and then we have to deshift it, basically decrypt it. So example here, u equals, I should have known that you would have a perfect answer for me. Moving shift u1, so we shift I by 1. We shift the space, which is also a character, I guess. Or is the space ignored? Does it say anything about white spaces? Because it would be interesting for the S. So T would be 1 shift, U would be 2, and V is actually 3. So I don't know what happened to the space because it is still the space. But we have QRST, UV. So we actually shifted by 3 here. And then the next one is H, I, J, K, L. So this is actually then even one more. Okay, let's just try it. I think this is not too difficult. Let's give it a try. Now for this here, I'm gonna, how am I going to do this? I'm going to maximize this here, or do we have some information here? No, right? Okay, so I'm going to maximize this here. I'm going to zoom in, and the important thing is I want to activate Vim bindings. This is a necessity. And I'm going to also maximize my browser window. All right. So again, to recap, the idea is to basically shift the alphabet, but to do it with momentum, you could say. So to do it increasing by 1 every time. So if I have something like, let's add a comment here. If I have hello, hello would be shifted. If I say hello 1, so shift by 1, it would shift H by 1. So it would be I. Then E would not be shifted to F, but to G, right? So it would be E, F, G. And then we would have L, M, N, O. But then it would be P, and then O would be one more. So I think that's the idea. So we shift H by 1, which is I. We shift E by 2, which is G. We shift L by 3, which is O. We shift L by 4, which is P, and so on. I think that's the idea, right? So in general, how do we shift values? I think we basically, and for this I'm going to open up my local Python to play around a little bit. I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to create a new file, experiments.py. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And we're going to try to just play around a little bit. Or actually we can go into the interpreter directly. So maybe I think ort of a character gives you the ASCII code, right? So if I say H, for example, it should give me 72. And if I say this plus 1, it is 73. And if I take this now and I turn it into a character, this gives me I. So that is how you shift, basically. You take the ordinal, you increase it by something, so you shift it, and then you turn it back into a character. That actually shouldn't be too difficult. Now the question is what happens when you do that with a white space. So it seemed that with a white space, nothing happened in the example. So what if I say here white space, it would turn it into an exclamation mark. So actually, I think that I need to say if it's a white space, ignore it. Does it actually specify that? Did I maybe not read that? Space. There you go. Quotes added in order to, okay, no. Space. Okay, no, it doesn't say anything about space. Does it say anything about blank? No, but it seems like... No. Does it seem like that? Yeah. It seems like the white spaces stay the same. So we're only actually shifting the characters. However, we're also considering this as a step. So we're not shifting the white space, but we're counting with it. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So the white space is also counted. So that's important. At least this is what I assume. I think that's the case. So let's go ahead again. Let's go ahead into the terminal again. The idea is now to take the character, and actually we can do that. We can do that by the position. So we don't even have to use a loop here. We can basically just say, take the position, and add the index of that character to the initial shift. So if I have a word, let's say my word is hello, then I would say that the resulting word, so resulting, would be, and then I could do a list comprehension, for example, to, I would have to enumerate, right? Would I have to enumerate? I think so. So I could say character. What we do is we say, the idea is to then say for I and C, so for index and character in, and then word, or actually enumerate word, that's the idea. And what I want to do here is I want to say character, ordinal, and then of the character, plus, plus the initial value, so the initial shift, let's say 1, plus I. And then, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I want. But then, of course, can I turn this just into a string, or do I have to join it? No, I have to join it. So I would have to say just this dot join that. Okay. And of course, the important thing here is that we need to also say that the white spaces are important. So if my word is hello world, I need to say in this list comprehension here, I would have to say do this if, or actually here, I would have to say this is what happens if the character is not equal to a white space, and else it's going to be a white space. So that should actually give me the result that I'm looking for. I hope so. Not entirely sure. Or actually, I'm not sure if that is, because in his result here, no, okay, this is interesting. It seems like he only rotates, maybe you're not seeing that, sorry. I'm gonna move my camera to the left here. There you go. What he's actually doing is he's only rotating characters, ASCII characters, so letters, basically. White spaces are ignored, but so are exclamation marks. So I think what we have to do is we have to rotate within the space of characters. So basically, okay, I think we have import string, and then we have string dot letters, right? Or was it ASCII letters? Yeah, this is what we're rotating over. So then what would I say? I would say alphabet equals string dot ASCII letters. And in this alphabet has a certain length, 52. I would have to rotate and take the modulus of 52. Let's just write some code here. Let's get some basic structure going. I'm going to say here import string. I'm going to say alphabet equals string dot ASCII letters. And then we're going to say that the resulting string, we're going to return here empty string dot join. We're going to have a list comprehension. We're going to say character ort. Actually not ord, right? Because we want to have not the ordinal, we want to have the position in the ASCII letters. So actually we would have to say alphabet dot index. I think this is how it works, right? So I would have to say alphabet dot index, for example, H. Yeah, okay. So I say alphabet index, whatever the character is, so C, plus the initial shift, plus I, yeah, that is that. If, and then we would have to say, yeah, if C is in the alphabet, else just C, for I, C in enumerate, string, so S. I think this makes sense because now what we're doing is we're checking, is C a character, is C a letter from the alphabet? If yes, shift it. Otherwise, just use the character itself. So if it's a white space or if it's an exclamation mark, for example, just use the character itself. Otherwise, shift it, and that should actually work, shouldn't it? So let me just copy this here, and let's see if it works here on the terminal. But it's not string, it's, what was it, word, right? Shift is not defined. Yeah, shift in my case was 1. Why do we have bytes now? Why do we have bytes now? That's interesting. Alphabet.index or index C plus 1 plus I. Let's say H, for example. Yeah, I know I is not defined. Yeah, sure, of course it isn't. Let me just then use this comprehension here, this list comprehension. Let's see if that somehow works. Okay, this works, but it gives me bytes. Why does it give me bytes? What happens? This is the index. Why is the index such a problem? Alphabet index H. Oh, of course, yeah. I'm using alphabet index. Now I'm getting a different number than I would get with ORD, but character works with ORD, not with the alphabet index. So we're going to actually have to say here alphabet and then take that index, of course. So it would be index plus 1 plus I, and then actually no parentheses here. That would be it. What's the problem now? Modulo, of course. So we would have to say this, whatever it is, modulo the length of the alphabet. In this case, 52. There you go. That's what we want. Okay. So it's not character. It's not a function that we apply to this. It's the alphabet itself. We look at this position. We get what we get. And of course, we need to take that and we need to say modulo 52 so that we cannot go out of bounds. And then it's just percent length alphabet. All right. So again, to recap, what we have here is we have the alphabet. From the alphabet, we go to the position that this character is at. We shift it, and we shift it also again depending on the position of this character, which we get by enumerating the string. And then we basically say if the character is part of the alphabet, we shift it, we take the new character, otherwise we just keep the character. That's the idea. So for the demoving shift, basically, for the demoving shift, don't we have to just do the same thing the other way around? So for example, I would have to shift, but I would have to shift in a different way. No, actually, would I? So what I get here is a result. What's the problem again? Oh. Okay, so to return this, I basically have to do the same thing, right? I have to, don't I just have to subtract? Maybe I'm naive, but I think I just have to subtract. Actually, I need to run this one again, and then I need to run this, but I need to say result. Yeah. Okay. I think this should work. No, actually, we forgot an important part. We're not just working with a string. We're actually working with the split as well. So we need to take the result, this one here, and we need to split it into 5 boxes that can be spread evenly. So what we do is we say the length of the result, in this case, is 11. 11 is not divisible by 5. So what we do is we say 11 floor division 5 to get how many, or actually no. We got to say, first of all, 11 modulo 5. Is this 0? No, it's not. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 11 minus what is not... No. How do we do that? If 11 is not divisible by 5, what we do is we do 11 floor division 4. Is this true? 11 floor division 4 would mean 2, 2, 2, 2, and then whatever is left, 1. That would not be enough, because in this case, we only have 8. So we need 3 more. This doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Or does it? Or does it? I don't know. Let's pick a different example. Let's say I have 17. Oh, we actually had this example in the task. So if I say 17 modulo 5, it doesn't work. Okay, so because it doesn't work, 17 floor division 4. Okay, 4, 4, 4, 4, and the remainder is going to be 1. Okay, let's just try this. Let's just say here now, this is my result. And what I want to do is I want to say return, or actually I want to say if length result modulo 5 is 0, then of course we just split it up into equal parts. So how do we do that? Part length is going to be equal to length of result divided by 5, which should be an integer because it's divisible by 5. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to say, what are we going to say? Can we do list comprehension? So we want to have a list of equal parts. So we want to have, actually, what is the result exactly? Yeah, so we just get strings. Okay, we just get strings. So we want to have the different strings here. So we want to take the full string, which is the result, and we want to get from that, first of all, the first part length characters. So let's say it's 4. We would get the first 4 characters, then we would get the next 4 characters. So actually would get from the position that we're currently at, which would be I. So we're going to use an I. We're going to enumerate. No, we're not going to enumerate. We're going to use a range. The range is going to be 5. And for that, we're going to say from I times I times part length. It's going to start with 0 up until I plus 1 times part length. I think this makes sense. Does this make sense? And here we're going to say for I in range 5. I'm not sure if this makes sense. So I'm going to copy that. Or actually, I'm going to just write it here. We need to have some string that has 15 or 10 characters. So let's just say the string test underscore string is going to be equal to hello world without the D, because that should be 10, right? Okay. So this now is can be split up into 5 by just saying 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So we're going to say now that the part length is going to be equal to 10 in this case, divided by 5. So 2. And then the result would be test string. And we set here, since the part length is 2, we would have here I times 2 up until I plus 1 times 2. For we need to close the brackets here. For I in range 5. Yes, this works. This works, yeah. Otherwise, if it's not divisible by 5, we're going to say part length is going to be equal to length of the result, floor divided by 4. Then we're going to return basically almost the same thing. We're going to say all of this here, but we're going to do it 4 times. And then we're going to say plus, so we're going to append a new list to it, plus, and then we're going to say, we're going to just say here, what are we going to say? We're going to say result, and then 4 times part length until the end. That should make sense. Now I actually already tested. So what happens here? This should equal this, but it doesn't. Why is that? First of all, I have uppercase characters here. He only has lowercase characters. Okay. I think I know how to solve that. But the split is also not correct. So what we have here is we have, let me just copy this here. I hope I copied it. No, didn't. I think I gotta be in insert mode to copy it. Okay, doesn't work at all. But the string that we have here has a certain length. I would like to figure out what that length is. Can I not copy from here? This is kind of, maybe I have to do it with right click. There you go. So if I say I want to know the length of this, 66, okay. So 66 is not divisible by 5. And 66 floor divided by 4 is 16. Now, how many characters do we have here? This is my response. This is what it should be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Why is it 14? Why not 16? So if I say 16 times 4, maybe I didn't read the task properly. So let me just read this part about the shift, not about the shift, about the split again. So if the length is 16, the parts will be of length that, okay. Yeah. If the length is 11, equal parts would be of length 2, 2.2. Okay, what is that? Okay, I think I didn't read the assignment properly. What does it say here? Sorry. I'm not sure I understand what they want from me. If possible, the message will be equally divided by the message length between the 5 runners. So basically taking the message length divided by 5. If this is not possible, parts 1 to 5 will have subsequently non-increasing lengths. Okay, this makes sense because we had this example before where actually they were increasing. So this is not allowed, they should not be increasing. Such that parts 1 to 4 are at least as long as when evenly divided, but at most 1 longer. So in this case, when we say 66 divided by 5, that is 13.2. So at least 13.2, but at most 1 longer. So basically the calculation is not floor division 4, but actually it is division 5, and then actually import math dot, oh sorry, wrong place, math dot seal. That would then be 14. Does this work? It works from the split. I think the split works now. The only problem here now is that we have lowercase and uppercase issues. But I think that is the right split here now. Okay. For the lowercase and uppercase, it seems like the letters should keep their case. So they should not shift across the alphabet. So what I think we need to do here is we need to say lower alphabet and upper alphabet. And we need to say, let me just Google how this works, Python uppercase letters string. So Python ASCII letters, ASCII uppercase, ASCII lowercase. Okay, ASCII uppercase string ASCII lowercase. Okay, so we have 2 alphabets now, and which one we choose? Maybe we shouldn't do this as a list comprehension, but it already is one, so I'm gonna keep it like that. This gets kind of stupid. I could also do something completely unnecessary. I could just keep it the way it was before. And this is really not reasonable to do it. But what I could do in order to not have to change my list comprehension completely is I could have a separate list indicating whether a character is an uppercase or a lowercase character, to then apply the whole thing on only lowercase letters and to then basically turn them back into uppercase if they were uppercase. Which is kind of stupid, but why not? Let's just do it. I don't care. So let's say cases, or let's say is underscore uppercase. What we're going to do here is we're going to say, and I think there should be a function for this, Python is uppercase. Yeah, I think actually the string itself has this function. Okay, so we're going to say here, C is upper. Is that the function? How is it called? Is upper with an underscore? No, without an underscore. Is upper for C in S. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say here alphabet equals ASCII lowercase, and we're going to say alphabet index, blah, blah, blah. Notice, yeah, actually it works, but we need to say here, after we have this list, S is S dot lower. And let me just see what happens here if I have something like hello world, exclamation mark, lower. Okay, the symbols stay the same. This is good. Let me just also check here real quick what happens if I say exclamation mark is lower or is upper. Okay, both are false. This is great. Okay, so is uppercase, then S is S lower, and in the end, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say result equals, and then C upper if C, or actually is uppercase I, yeah, if uppercase I, else C, for I, C in enumerate S. All right. Completely unnecessary, but this should actually work, I think. So let's just give it a try. A problem here with the seal function. We didn't close this. What is happening now? Oh, we need to join this again. Now we have another problem. Oh. Okay, what's the problem here now? It doesn't do anything anymore. The alphabet is ASCII lowercase. All the characters should be lowercase. Shouldn't they? Am I mistaken? Can I print something actually? Yeah, so it's all lowercase. Why doesn't this work then? It also seems to convert it properly. So probably the mistake is here. Yeah, okay, so the mistake is here. Oh yeah, of course it's here. Of course it's here, because we're actually applying this to the results. There you go, the test is passed. Now we just have to reverse this. Great. What's this bug here? Doesn't seem to show the code editor properly. There you go. Okay, so again, as I said, this is a stupid solution, but I didn't want to change my list comprehension here because I want to move on with a 4Q challenge, and we're already doing 37 minutes. So let's move on to the demoving shift. All we have to do here is we have to join all of this together. This should not be too difficult. So actually, we should be able to just join the lists, right? So we just have to say empty string join, and we join the content of S. And that would be our new S, and this should actually be it, right? Or am I naive again? Test, let's attempt. Oh, one thing didn't pass. Which one's that? Moving shift. Slice indices must be integers or none, or have an index method. And that's not the case for me, or what? Which line is that? This is line 13. Okay, it seems to, problem seems to be here. Do I have to say integer? Okay. The backwards conversion doesn't work. Okay. Yeah, of course it doesn't work because we don't do it the same way that we do it here. So here we need to again do the whole thing with the uppercase. So we need to say actually that. And then we need to say that. And here basically we need to say this. Like that. Okay, still not everything working here. Let me just copy this code here so that I can run it locally. I need to play around with it. So what I want to do is I want to say print moving shift, and I want to do 1, and I want to do hello world. Okay, first of all, oh no, this actually works. Okay. Now I want to get this result here, or let's just call it res equals that, and then we want to say print demoving shift res 1. Okay. Yeah, of course it doesn't work. I mean, it adds the things. Should do the opposite. Of course it doesn't work. Now it works. Okay, we solved this one. I'm sure there are better solutions, but we're going to move on now. So let's see what the best solutions here are. Okay, actually they're not that short. The other solutions seem to be quite long as well. So there isn't a one-liner or something like that. What does he do? ABC, what is ABC? Okay, ASCII lowercase is ABC, ABC here uppercase, okay. Yeah, okay. Seems fine. Seems like our solution was not the worst possible solution. So let's close this one. I'm gonna try for Q1, even though we're quite long. We're doing this quite long already. Let me just check one thing real quick. Okay, just need to write a message here real quick. All right, maybe I have to make a cut here in a couple of minutes, but we're going to look for a 4Q challenge here. So we're gonna go and say difficulty 4Q, and this should hopefully give us something interesting. So the smallest number with a given number of divisors. No, I don't want to do mathematics now. Multiply, weighted graph. Okay, all of this is math now. Tracking pawns, alphabet wars, simple memory manager. Let's see what this does. Brainfuck translator. Okay. Unflatten a list. Harder than easy. You get an array of integers and you have to unflatten it by these rules. Okay, there are quite a lot of rules. The observed pin. Number of integer partitions. Implementing SHA-1. Does it also describe how it works? I don't want to do that. Multiplying polynomials. Block sequence. I'm looking for an easy one. Maybe we can, I think there's a filter actually. Or something that we can sort. Progress. No. Status. Sort by. There you go. Most completed. Human readable duration format. Snail. Why is this checked? Have I done this already? I don't know. Range extraction. Strip comments. So many permutations. Okay. Let's get rid of this one. Let's get rid of this one. Okay, your task in order to complete this kata is to write a function which formats a duration given as a number of seconds in a human-friendly way. The function must accept a non-negative integer. If it's 0, it just returns now. Otherwise, the duration is expressed as a combination of years, days, hours, minutes, and seconds. It's much easier to understand with an example. For seconds equals 62, your function should return 1 minute, 2 seconds. For seconds, whatever, it should return that. Okay. So we always get just seconds. Is this correct? Let's try this one. It doesn't seem too difficult. Okay, so we only get seconds. This is good. We only get seconds. This shouldn't really be too difficult. Because the idea is you get seconds, and we could define certain thresholds. So I think, what's the maximum thing that we can have? The maximum thing that we can have is a year, right? So we have, basically, if I write this as comments here, 60 seconds is going to be equal to 1 minute. Then we have 60 times 60. What is that? $3,600 seconds, going to be equal to 1 hour. Then this times 24 is going to be equal 86,400 seconds is going to be equal to 1 day. Then what did we have here? Okay, we didn't have weeks and we didn't have months, so we just need years. And then we have 365 days. So that times 365, which is this number here. So that many seconds. Those are the thresholds. So that is 1 year. Which basically means, okay, sorry for actually trying. This basically means we can do this as a sort of modulo operation. So year is not relevant if we have less than that amount of seconds. Which means that I can do, let's just start with some basic code here. If I say, that this number here, if I say that the seconds are less than this number, then year is irrelevant. Then I can focus on day. If I also say that seconds is below that number here, then I can focus on hours. If I say seconds is below this number here, then I'm only focusing on minutes. And if seconds is less than even 60, then we're focusing only on seconds, because then we don't even have minutes. So if that is the case, we're going to just return a formatted string. What was the format exactly? We wanted to have, let me just see here in the instructions, just number seconds, right? So that would be just whatever the seconds are, seconds. Do we need to have a dot at the end? No. Okay. So that is that. Now, if we have more than 60 seconds, we're going to have minutes. So otherwise, we're going to return here formatted string. We're going to say seconds modulo, no, actually not modulo, divided by, so floor divided by 60. Those are going to be the minutes. And then we're going to say seconds modulo 60 seconds. I think this makes sense. Here, we're going to say, actually, we need to say, the thing is now, of course, if we have exactly 60 seconds, it should be 1 minute and not 1 minute and 0 seconds. But we're going to take care of that later on. Here we're going to say now, if it is above 60 minutes, we're going to do the same thing with hours. So we're going to say here, seconds, floor divided by, and then 3,600 hours. And here we're going to say now seconds. Now the question is, how do we do that? If I have, let me just do an example here in the command line. If I say Python 3, and I say now I have, I don't know, 3,677 seconds. If I say now floor divided by 3,600, that would be 1 hour. Okay, so if I say now for the minutes, we have 36,077 modulo 3,600. Those are the seconds remaining here. Yeah, okay, then we basically just do this. We basically just say modulo 3,600, and that again, floor divided by 60. And at the end, we have seconds. And then we need to basically take this. Come on. Okay, I'm going to write it myself. Seconds modulo 3,600 modulo 60. And that again is going to be seconds. And I think this pattern will basically continue here now, because what we're going to do next is we're going to say, okay, for the days, we're going to do seconds divided by, and then we have 86,400 days. And for the hours now, we're going to do here parentheses, seconds, then modulo 86,400 divided by 3,600. Then we're going to copy this. I'm going to say and. I'm going to say here this, but instead of divided here again, modulo all this, and divided by 60, floor divided by 60. And then again, we're going to copy this here. And we're going to say, and we're going to paste this here. This again changes to modulo. And this is seconds. And finally, we can basically copy this here. But now we're going to change these numbers here to... actually, can I not use... Can I use a Vim... Let me just see if I can use a Vim substitution here. If I say substitute seconds with seconds, or maybe I should use parentheses, seconds modulo, and whatever the number is here, this one, G. Did that work? And here, of course, I would have to... Yeah, this actually works, doesn't it? I think this actually works because now we have seconds, and of course I need to put this here in front. So seconds, floor division by that number. That would be years, and... Okay. Now the only difficulty here is, what if I have a 0? So this should work now for basically everything. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to define this here. Does this work? Format, duration. Yeah, but the problem is now I think, okay, I can make this even larger. What is that now? Of course, it substituted the last seconds as well. So let me copy this again. Okay, there you go. But the problem is now if I enter something like 3,600, I'm going to get 1 hours and 0 seconds. This is the problem, I guess. This is where the solution won't be correct, because I think now also 1 seconds should equal 1 second. 1 minutes and 2 seconds should equal 1 minute and 2 seconds. 2 minutes and 0 seconds should equal 2 minutes. So you can see basically it works, but we don't have all of this handled. So I'm gonna try to do this in a sort of unusual way. I'm gonna drink some water here. What I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to just keep it like that. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a regex to remove the s's if the second is 1, or if the value is 1 from the string. So I'm gonna look for the pattern that I have some digit followed by a space and a word. And then if the word, or if the digit is 1, I'm gonna remove the s from the word. And if the digit is not 1, I'm gonna have the s. I'm gonna keep the s there. And then, if the digit is 0, I'm gonna remove basically, this is too complicated, come on. How do we do that? How do we do that in an efficient way? Because doing it in general is not hard. I could also just hard code it. I could go through all the use cases or all the cases and then just filter out these cases. But how can I do this intelligently? How can I remove all the zeros and how can I remove all the s's from the ones? I don't want to have separate branches for the exact values. I would like to manipulate the strings in some way. Because also, we cannot just remove everything after that. If I have, for example, 3,601, it would be 1 hour and 1 second. So I cannot... Did I remove the minutes here? Oh yeah, we don't have all the words. We need to also add here that this is hours, this is minutes, and this is seconds. This is days, this is hours. This is minutes. And then we have here years, days, hours, and minutes. And also I think that the instruction set, yeah, there should be a comma, not an end. So this is kind of, yeah, we need to put more thought into that. But I would really like to have this as a regular expression. This would be awesome. But the thing is, I'm not allowed to Google the exact solutions. So I cannot just ask ChatGPT to write a regex for me. But maybe I can Google for a regex to say remove s from hours and minutes, for example. Since this is not the exact solution to the task, I would say I'm allowed to use it. Okay, now this is actually, but we already have this, so this is not a big deal. I mean, yeah, that would also be an idea. Instead of directly creating the strings, we could store the values. So we could say, how would we do that? We would say, we could do it like that. We could say here in this case, or actually let me just copy these here. Instead of returning, what we could do is we could say this just returns, or this just saves a list of 0, 0, 0. So year, day, hour, minute, second. So like this. let's call this data. And here we would say data equals, and we would say 0, 0, 0, then this, then this, and then like that. And here again, same thing. We would have data equals list like that. And we would have 2 zeros in here. And now we would have 1 0. And then that should be it. And finally, in the last row, we would have data equals, and we'd have to do all this again. So we have a comma here. We would have comma here. Would have a comma here. And finally, would have a comma here. That would be it. Like that. And now we have the list of, and we need to put a opening bracket here. But now we have these year, days, or years, days, hours, minutes, seconds values here. Now with those values, we can format the strings. So we can say, how do we do that? If data, how would we do that now? We need to do that intelligently because we need to, I don't want to go through all the permutations obviously, but I need to somehow figure out a way to also remove values in between when there's 0 and to keep the values that are not 0. So what we have to do is we have to express this in a more generalized way. But I don't have an idea right now how to do that. So let's say I have here, let's go with examples. Examples are always good. Let's say I have, let's just comment this out. Is this possible? Let's say I have the following list. I have like 1 year, or maybe let's go 0 years, 4 days, 0 hours, 54 minutes, and 12 seconds. How would I format this? I would say years is 0, so we can skip that. So we say, okay, the first one, is year 0? If no, we say whatever the value is, years. Okay, but now we don't have it, so it's 0. Then we would say, okay, the next one, is the next one 0? No, it's 4. Okay, so 4, what is it? Days. And because it's not 1, it's days. Actually, this is not too complicated. I think we can do that quite easily. Can we not just say final string equals empty string, and then we can say, is there some problem with the parentheses here? I think so, because I'm constantly jumping to the wrong line. So final string is going to be an empty string. And we're going to say now for element, or let's say for ix in enumerate, then we're going to enumerate data. We're going to say if or maybe we can also do here positions. We can say here year, day, hour, minute, second. And we can say now, if positions, no, not if positions, if data I, or actually we can do this in a different way. We can say just I in range length data. If the data here is equal to 0, we just skip it. Does this make sense? Can we just say continue? Elif, the data is equal to 1. Then we append to the final string. So we say final string plus equals. And then we append to this a white space. And then the value, so data at that position. And since it's just 1, we also get the position. So positions I. All right, sorry, had to go AFK for a second. So yeah, we have the data I, we have the positions I. So basically in this case, it would be 1 year or 1 day because we already have singular here. So it's not plural. Now, in all other cases, we would want to say, so basically just else. In those cases, the final string would be data I, so still the amount, then position I, but with an S. So that's it. Years, days, hours, minutes, seconds. The only thing that we now need to also take care of is the ends. So we need to say, so if it's 0, we don't really care. We just continue. But if we write something like 1 year, 1 day, whatever, we need to say, how many values do we have afterwards that are not 0? So non-zero successors, we can call it, is going to be how many values do we have after this index that are not 0. So we'd have to say, let me just take this list here as an example. And let's do it here. So we have this list here. This is my list. And I want to say my list at position 1, for example, is 4. Okay. So to get all the values after this would be 4 plus 1, or 1 plus 1 in this case. So the index plus 1 until the end. That would be it. And I would just have to say, is it any? No, it's not any. How do I count non-zero values sufficiently? It was not any, right? Can I count non-zero values in any way? Python count non-zero values in list. Okay, NumPy, I don't want to use NumPy for this. Okay, no, I can do it as list comprehension, doesn't matter. So I can just say basically take that and then go and say 1 for x in this if x is not equal to 0. And else 0. There you go. Okay, and then we can just sum it up. So you get this. Sure. Okay. So we copy this. We can say paste. And if instead of having 1 here, we just say I. Provided, of course, that we're not already at the last position. But we can take care of this. So the idea is if non-zero successors actually, we should say if, let's handle this right away, if I is already the last position, so if I is not the last position, let's put it that way, if I is not equal to length my list, minus 1, actually, right? Because the last I is going to be, in this case, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but the list is 5. So if I is 4, so length minus 1, then I don't want to do this. So I want to say, okay, if I is not that, we're going to calculate how many non-zero successors we have. And if this number is equal to 2, we're going to add to the string, final string. We're going to add to this a comma. Elif, when this number is if this number is 1, we're going to add an and. And no, not if it's 2, if it's 2 or above. So if it's greater than or equal to 2. And in all other cases, we're going to just add nothing. So basically, basically return. Is this correct? Return seconds. Does this make sense? Let me copy this and try it locally before I try here. So let me just zoom out a little bit. And then let's call this on format duration on, I don't know, something like this. My list is not defined. Sure, because our list is data. Still, my list is not defined. Where am I using my list? Ah. Data. None. Great. Why is that? First of all, we shouldn't return seconds. We should return the final string, of course. But then again, we also... No, this is stupid. We just have to say... If it is the last character, we're going to return. Shouldn't this work? 1 hour and. Okay, we're missing some white spaces here, and we have a white space in the beginning, which is not good. So if it's 0, we shouldn't have a white space. Oh, yeah, I know why. Because we have a white space here every single time. this should not be the case. So we should have the white space actually here and here. 1 hour and so now we're missing a white space after the 1 hour. Because here, of course, we should also have a white space. 1 hour and 43 seconds. Okay, seems to work. Let's go with something like this. 1 hour and 1 second. Okay, seems very promising. Let's just export this. I'm gonna copy this here, and we're gonna test this, and we're gonna see if it works. Let's see. I'm gonna run this. Okay, 2 minutes didn't work and 1 hour didn't work. So actually what didn't work is if I have exactly this value. What do I get here? None. Okay, interesting. Why is that? Because I don't return anything. Final string is an empty string. Let me just see here. Print data. Okay, we have 1, 1 in there. That's good. So at some point we should get to that. And it should be here. So it should actually append this to the string. Oh, I get why it doesn't work. It should not continue, it should just pass, I think. Oh no, this messes up a lot. Okay, so what's the idea? We go through the thing. If it's 0, we skip it. But we should actually say if it's 0 and if it's not the last thing. So we should maybe say if maybe this. One hour. Great. Let's see if the rest still works. Okay, seems like it works. Let's try again to copy the output. Where's my cat command? There it is. Copy. Then remove all of this here, paste this, and let's see. There you go. All the tests have passed. Let's attempt. Okay, there you go. Oh yeah, the only thing that I didn't take care of is the now. So if we don't have anything, it should be now. Before I don't return anything. So if 0, now. Basically, that's the only thing. I'm gonna do this right away here. So if seconds equals 0, return now. Attempt. Oh. Attempt. There you go. We solved this. Submit. Let's see what the other people have done here. Okay, this looks quite concise. Yeah, he does basically the same thing. He has here tuples with the thresholds. And he also does appending here with comma and and. Okay, this is too... What the hell is that? This is the most inefficient thing that you can do. This is really not good. Okay, no, this is garbage. Don't do it like this. This looks okay. This looks okay. Yeah. Seems like our solution wasn't too bad. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and hope you learned something. If so, let me know by hitting a like button and leaving a comment in the comment section down below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell to not miss a single future video for free. Other than that, thank you much for watching. See you in the next video and bye.